In a small, forgotten town, nestled deep within the shadowed valleys, winter always brought more than just snow. With the first biting winds and the first dusting of white, an unsettling phenomenon would begin. It was a whisper carried on the airwaves, a chilling secret shared only by the old radios. Each year, as the nights grew longer and the cold seeped into every home, a faint static hum would emerge. It was barely perceptible at first, a ghostly breath in the quiet hours, but soon, it would be layered with something far more disturbing. Soft, distant laughter like children playing in a snow-covered field would weave through the hiss. It was a sound that defied explanation, yet it became an annual dread. Most people, in their desperate need for normalcy, dismissed it. They blamed old transmitters, the interference of winter storms, or simply the quirks of outdated technology. They told themselves it was nothing more than a trick of the ear, a collective hallucination brought on by the isolation of the season. But deep down, a seed of unease had been planted. The static, however, was not mere interference. It possessed a distinct rhythm, a pulse that seemed to beat with an unnatural life. It was almost a voice, a silent language waiting to be understood. The laughter grew clearer, more insistent, no longer a distant echo but a presence in the room. Then, the counting began. Slowly, deliberately, a child's voice would emerge from the hiss, whispering numbers. 1, 2, 3, it would intone, each digit drawn out, filled with an eerie innocence. The counting grew in intensity with each passing night. It became more distinct, more insistent, a relentless progression that burrowed into the minds of those who heard it. The townspeople tried to ignore it, to turn off their radios, but the sound seemed to seep through the very walls of their homes. It was a countdown to an unknown, terrifying event. The laughter and the counting became a nightly ritual, a macabre lullaby that promised something sinister. The air itself seemed to thicken with an unspoken dread. Everyone knew something was coming, but no one dared to voice their fears. As the counting reached its crescendo, a new horror unfolded. The town's children began to sleepwalk, their small bodies moving with an eerie, unseeing purpose. They were drawn inexplicably, as if by an invisible thread, towards a single, ominous destination. Their path led them to the forest on the hill, a place shrouded in local legend and sorrow. It was the site of an old orphanage, a building that had burned down 50 years ago, taking with it the lives of every child within its walls. The ashes of that tragedy still seemed to cling to the very air. Parents, waking to find empty beds, were gripped by a primal terror. They tried to stop their children, to hold them back, to break the trance that held them. Their desperate pleas and frantic struggles were futile. The children, their eyes glazed and vacant, offered no resistance, yet they could not be deterred. They simply continued their silent march. They left their homes quietly at night, their footsteps unnervingly silent on the snow. One by one, they vanished among the trees, swallowed by the darkness and the chilling whispers of the static. One local man, driven to the brink by the vanishing children and the town's collective despair, sought answers. He was a recluse, a tinkerer with an old reel-to-reel recorder, and he decided to capture the elusive static. He believed that if he could isolate the sound, he might understand its malevolent purpose. He spent a long, terrifying night with his radio, recording every hiss and whisper. The next morning, with a trembling hand, he played back the tape. What he heard sent a cold dread through his very bones. Amidst the familiar static and the children's laughter, he heard his own voice. It was a faint, ghostly whisper, joining the spectral chorus. 4, 5, 6. His own voice intoned, perfectly mimicking the cadence of the other children. The static had learned. It had not only mimicked his voice, but had woven it into its sinister tapestry. It had learned to manipulate, to draw him into its horrifying game. The recording was a chilling testament to its evolving, malevolent intelligence. He tried to destroy the tape, to erase the horrifying evidence of his unwitting participation. He cut it, burned it, buried it, but it was useless. The recording returned, playing endlessly from his radio, as though the device itself had learned to wait. It was a constant, inescapable reminder of the horror he had uncovered. The static, the laughter, and the relentless countdown are not mere sounds. They are a siren's call, a spectral lure from beyond the veil. They are a promise of eternal play, a deceptive invitation to join a game that has no end. Each number whispered from the static represents a soul. It is a child the forest will claim, a new voice added to the chilling chorus. The counting is a tally, a grim ledger of the lost. This tale serves as a stark reminder of unseen dangers that lurk just beyond our perception. It speaks to the enduring power of the past, of tragedies that refuse to remain buried. It warns of the terrifying consequences of heeding whispers that promise solace but deliver only despair. So, if you ever find yourself in a quiet winter night, and you hear faint laughter woven into the static of an old radio, do not follow it. Do not listen too closely. Some sounds are best left unheard, and some paths are best left untrodden. For once you join the count, there is no turning back.